Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
Now, here's your host, Ed Cohen.
One. Hi, this is Ed Cohen in San Diego, and you're on Global TV Talk Show. Our very special guest today is Brent Michael Phillips, a scientist, and went to MIT back in the day. I just asked him about, in the warm-up, the early days of the internet and Zoom, and he said, oh, it was way before. And so let's say hi to Brent Michael Phillips. Welcome.
Excited to be here.
That's great. Okay, so you were telling me earlier in the warm-up about being at MIT, and it was way early days. If you could quickly get us up to speed, and then we're going to go into your book right away.
So here's what happened to me. I grew up, I was a complete nerd, right? I loved video games, Dungeons and Dragons, Star Trek, all that stuff, right? So when I ended up in college, I went to MIT. And at MIT in the 80s, I discovered the internet. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's this incredible worldwide network, right?
Yeah.
And I fell in love, spent lots of time on the chat rooms and bulletin boards. I ended up becoming a networking specialist.
Oh, great.
And when I was in grad school at MIT, MIT was awarded to be the host of the World Wide Web Consortium. So part of my master's thesis was actually one of the projects my group did was we sent the first ever live audio video streams over the web.
Wow.
Was in the spring of 1994.
So did it look like this? Was it black and white with lines running through it, or
it was pretty much all text that appeared slowly on your screen. We were all using modems, right?
Yeah.
It was nice. There was no spam. There was no spyware. There was no phishing scams. There were no Nigerian princes. It was just people telling the truth.
So do you remember a company in the Boston area around that time called TASC, T-A-S-C, the Analytic Sciences Corp?
No, I don't. But when I was at MIT, pretty much the whole world disappeared.
Yeah, I follow you.
6 inches off campus, I didn't know about you.
Yeah, okay. Well, this was one of my customers that used our recruitment guide, which I called Settling In Greater Boston, including MIT and Harvard and some of the other the universities and medical research centers. And at that time, digital equipment out on 128 in Maynard, Massachusetts, they were working on reducing the IBM-sized mainframe to a desktop. And then Data General and Wang Laboratories and all these other companies sprang up. I met some guys who were in HR and recruitment for this. It was a Defense Department company, the Analytic Sciences Corporation at the time. I'm not telling any secrets here, but these guys were so bright. Oh my God, even though they were in HR, they were really bright. And their job was to recruit super smart guys like you to come into work on this almost like a jet propulsion system to blast ballistic missiles, the Polaris submarine, the missiles from underwater to go straight up and hit their target out there somewhere. And this is like way secret back then. And so they were recruiting all these engineers, and they were our customers. So that's how I'm familiar with what was going on around MIT. You couldn't even get near the place. It was like a military base. They were keeping everybody away. Anyway, tell us about yourself and about this book.
Well, it's interesting. When I was in grad school at MIT, I really thought I was set to conquer the world. Because when I left MIT, I was one of the world's top internet programming specialists.
Wow.
Right at the time the internet was catching fire in the mid-90s.
That is hot stuff, man.
And
Thank you for
I figured that, I'm going to be all set. I thought, well, I'll leave MIT, start a new company, work really hard for a couple of years, sell it for millions and millions of dollars, and then spend my days hot tubbing with supermodels. So that was the plan, right? But it didn't work out that way. That I did get a good start. That right after MIT, I started a website company. And in our first year, we did websites for the launch of the Sony PlayStation. We did the website for Disneyland. We did the website for Nissan Motors.
Way to go, man. That is super cool. Wow.
Great stuff. But I was pushing myself so hard because I wanted to be successful that I created a health crisis. My body collapsed.
Oh.
I started having serious health issues. I was suffering from chemical poisoning. I had lung disease on a camping trip. I mean, I could go on and on, right? But to keep a long story very short, my whole life fell apart. The multi-million-dollar company was stolen by my lifelong best friend. I ended up getting almost nothing, and I was living with my parents, surviving on total disability when my best friend made millions of dollars off of my work.
Oh,
He also secretly stole the woman I was in love with. So it was just this crazy, messed up drama. And I ended up, when I was 27, I was put on lifetime disability and sent home to die. Doctors gave up on me. And I did 3 years of conventional treatment, didn't help me. 5 years of alternative treatment, didn't help me. I ended up having an experimental surgery. And after the surgery, my right arm was paralyzed. I couldn't move it at all. So that was really the lowest spot. That I was basically, at that point, I was freshly divorced, living on disability, almost $70,000 in credit card debt, was told there's no chance of recovery, that I'd never be able to work again. And it really, my life was just over. And that's when I met this woman named Terry. And she was this crazy healer lady that in our very first session, the true story, she did all this subconscious block clearing with me and all these questions about God and my parents and all that. And at the end of the session, I don't know exactly what happened, but my elbow went pop and I could move my arm again. It was really a miracle.
Isn't that amazing that the mind control or the releases, whatever, releases a pathway or a block and allows in energy, I guess.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And I didn't understand it at the time, but I saw it was real. And I remember I'm like, Terry, I don't know what you just did, but you got to teach me this. And she did.
That's a miracle. Wow.
And that's what I've been doing ever since, is taking this incredible innovation, this incredible technology, and sharing it with the world.
So how much of this is food oriented? In other words, intake?
Now, in terms of physical health, I'd say maybe 50%. I think it's a significant.
That's a lot. Yeah,
it's a lot. But it's not everything.
Mm-hmm.
So 40-ish, maybe 50%.
So mind control. I mean, whatever God, there's somebody up there or something up there that helps once you ask the right way, I guess, if there's a linkage. So you somehow, she took you to a place where you could find it on your own, apparently.
It involves using a theta brainwave to get into the subconscious, is what she did. And
what does that mean?
It's
a brainwave?
Yep. And long story short, I went in to see Terry because I was desperate, right? I didn't think she could help me. But by doing this subconscious clearing thing, I literally experienced a miracle, got my whole life back. And I spent the next 5, almost 8 years working with her, trying to figure out what had happened. And my book, Where Science Meets Spirit, The Formula for Miracles, is really all about especially the book 2, the one that just released, is about understanding energy healing, law of attraction, mind power, and prayer from the angle of science and engineering.
But I ask you to hold up the book cover of book cover number 1 and book cover number 2.
I don't have any printed books.
Oh, well, you have a picture?
I could pull up a JPEG on my screen. I mean,
or just send it to me in an email, and I'll ask my tech to show it in the edited version.
Give me a second here. I'm happy to send it over.
I'll give you my email address. I think you already have it, but I'll give it to you again.
Yeah, the only people that ever get printed books are I don't print them and sell them. It just makes no sense.
I got it. And in fact, somebody gave me, anyway, I'm an old fashioned guy and I've got all these print books. And then somebody gave me as a birthday present, a Kindle. And so I'm about to stop reading paperbacks. So I get it. Yeah. Oh, anyway, I look forward to seeing those, and we'll help promote this in the on-demand edition, which will be ready in about a week or so. And I'm looking forward to that. So we have been interviewing some other authors, of course, as you might suspect, with me being a talk show host on Zoom.
On its way. All right, I'll set.
And some of them have talked to some extent about exactly what you just said about happiness, finding happiness, and allowing happiness to happen to you.
Sure.
You know, some of it is lighter like that. But what you've done, though, is solved a complete washout, it sounds like, of almost like a near-death experience. I'm putting words in your mouth here, but it sounds like you, of course, saved your life, but it's like, it's more than a miracle. Is it a miracle or is it science of what you're describing?
I would say it's both.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to look at what is a miracle. Well, I would say that a miracle is any phenomenon that cannot be fully explained by our current level of science and technology. So, for example, if you took that cell phone in your pocket back in time 500 years, they'd think it was a miracle, huh? Or maybe it was an alien artifact, or maybe the devil sent it, right? So miracles are simply unexplained phenomena. That there's lots of things we can explain today that were considered miracles in the past. As an example, in the 10 plagues of Exodus in the Bible, there's the thing about the locust, right? We now understand it was a supervolcano that exploded that caused this cascade of physical effects, one of which would have been a plague of locusts. So basically, primitive humans saw it as a miracle. They saw it as God's will. Modern humans would go, it's not a miracle, it's just nature. That there's the supervolcano, it causes a tsunami, it causes this, and 7 steps down, a plague of locusts comes out.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by Porchlight Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
And by heirs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at heirs.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
Stop dreaming and start living overseas. International lifestyle consultant Emily Braun can help you seamlessly transition to your new life in your dream destination. Whether you are a retiree, a digital nomad, or a mobile executive, Emily Braun can make your transition overseas a success. Visit emilybraun.com.
Coutalis is a global group with a worldwide footprint. With 16 agencies in 10 countries, Coutalis offers companies and mobile professionals a unique combination of HR services and options. Find us at coutalis.com.
Take your communication skills to the next level. Barbara Bolt of Bolt Global has a passion to make you shine. As our globe expands, effective intercultural communication and presentation is a must. Visit boltglobal.com.
So I want to get into your book and stuff about how you got it from up here into here and then in the book format, and how long all that took, and some of your experiences along the way. And we only have like 15 minutes, so that'll be a miracle to do all of that for sure. But how in the world was it the world? How in the world did you achieve that, to go from that incapacity to full capacity? How long did that take?
It took longer than I thought. It was about 10 years.
Oh my God.
And here's what happened to me. When I had my first session with Terry, experienced my first miracle when my elbow healed, I was super excited, right? I'm like, wow, I have to learn this. I really want this, right? And I was terrible. And this shocked me. I couldn't do it at all. When I did my first training with her, there was like 100 people there. I was dead last. And it didn't make sense to me. I'm like, hey, wait a second. I was like, National Merit Scholar, valedictorian, top of my class at MIT. I can go on and on with all these awards, accomplishments, et cetera, right? And I couldn't learn how to do healing. Well, here's what happened. I didn't realize, but MIT had put me so deep in my head, I couldn't feel energy at all. So it was a disaster. So I could not learn this stuff the traditional way. I didn't have the talent for it. So I took a totally different approach. I said, okay, I'm terrible at energy healing, but I am a world-class engineer with an amazing education and have done all this stuff, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a different approach. I'm going to reverse engineer it. And that's what I did.
So reverse engineer means go backwards how things are made?
Yep, it's take something and then figure out how they made it.
And so in this regard, what are you talking about? What did you reverse?
What I had watched Terry do was he had pulled on my fingers and talked to me for an hour, and I experienced a miracle, right?
You mean pulling on the finger, feeling something?
Yeah, doing what's called muscle testing. And that's all it was. She had prayed, meditated, talked to me, and pulled on my fingers, right, to do muscle testing. And I experienced a miracle. My paralyzed arm went off and I could move it again, right? So I wanted to understand, what exactly was she doing? What was going on behind the scenes? How did that work? And I started with Terry, but I worked with a lot of other great teachers too. I thought it would take me 6 months. It ended up taking me 10 years. So it took a lot longer than I thought. But little by little, I started to figure out what they were doing. So I'll give you one piece right now. One thing that they're all doing is accessing a theta brainwave.
THETA?
Yep, that if we look at the research done at the SRI in the 60s and 70s, what they determined was...
SRI is Stanford, right?
Yep, Stanford Research Institute.
Mm-hmm.
They determined that all of these paranormal phenomena, such as remote viewing, talking to the dead, instant healing, things like that, right? They were all strongly correlated with the theta brain state.
Theta of what?
The theta brain state.
Theta, yeah, got
And
it.
so what I did was, working with Terry, I figured out that was one of the things she was doing. Because I noticed that when she would go into her meditation, her eyes would start to flutter. And that's one of the physical key signs you look for of a theta state. So I saw that. I'm like, hey, wait a second. And I figured out, oh, okay, this is part of what's going on. Now, there's more to it than just that, right? But that was one of the things I discovered. You put that together with 6 other things, then you have real life-changing technology. So I was able to figure out a lot of what the gurus and masters and mystics and shamans were doing, and found a new way to do the same thing. Because here's what I found when I went on my journey of healing. I found there's actually a lot of people out there who have some pretty amazing skills and talents. There's people that do some really incredible things. But here's the trouble. For most of them, it's some kind of natural talent or gift. Most of the healers and psychics out there, it's just something they were born with, or a gift that showed up, and they don't really understand how it works or what they're doing, right? I wanted to change that and go, here's how it works step by step from the beginning. And that's my approach to energy healing, to law of attraction, to prayer, to spirituality, is taking all these great concepts of the New Age world and applying some scientific engineering rigor to them. Because I also found there's a lot of fluff and nonsense out there. There's a lot of people out there who don't know what they're doing, who are trying to make a quick buck as a healer or a life coach or something, right? And the trouble is that they're selling overpriced garbage. What I want everyone to know is to educate yourself about how this stuff works, so that you stop getting ripped off by dishonest or incompetent life healers, life coaches and healers, so we can get real technology that moves our lives forward. And that's how I see this. All this stuff is just technology. Energy healing, mind power, instant healings, law of attraction, ascension of consciousness. It's all just technology.
We are pleased to welcome Adamo Education as a proud sponsor of Global TV Talk Show.
The concept of a microschool is the reimagining of the one-room schoolhouse. My name is Tamara Becker. I'm the president and CEO of Adamo Education. The microschool concept really does not just lend itself to the personalization and the customization of learning, but also the social development and fostering that sense of love for learning. Unlike what we see in traditional brick and mortar schools, we have multiple grade levels in the same learning space. Students can be enriched by the socialization that they get, as well as the academic support from peers. What differentiates Adamo is the fact that we are taking the best pieces of brick and mortar, of digital, and then at-home learning. Students here can come 5 days a week. They can come 4 hours a day. It will really just depend on what is best for the student and for the parent. So to enroll, just reach out via phone, text, or email, and we'll have that personalized conversation, and we'll be able to get you all set. Check us out at adamoeducation.org.
Become a global player in your field.
Cross Culture to Go provides virtual support for your global business and career success.
We can help you thrive in 140 plus countries and markets.
On the web at crossculturetogo.com.
Let's zero in on something that a lot of people, in addition to me, have heard about, law of attraction.
Sure.
So that means, okay, you're walking down the street, you make eye contact with somebody, and sometimes it means nothing, you keep walking. And other times you're sort of drawn into a hello, or for some reason a conversation may begin. Is that related?
It's related. Now, the law of attraction got a lot of press, especially around 2006-ish when The Secret came out. But the law of attraction is nothing new. It's nothing new. It's what we used to call positive thinking. So back in the 80s and 90s, we called it positive thinking. Then The Secret came out, and they're calling it the law of attraction. There's no difference, right?
What secret?
So here, The Secret was a DVD, a documentary released by Rhonda Burns around 2006. And it basically tells us it's all about the law of attraction. And, for those out there, please don't go run and buy it, right? It's just really probably not worth your time and money. But it tells us that you can have anything you want in life if you just know how to train your mind. So that is largely true, but it's oversimplified. If you watch The Secret, they'll make it think like, oh, all I have to do is make a vision board and I'll be a billionaire tomorrow. It's like, well, it's not quite that easy, right? Here's what I want people to know. There is truth behind The Secret. There is truth behind the law of attraction. But it's not as simple and convenient as the people selling it say it is. So can you learn to harness the power of your mind to heal your body, to make more money, to find love, to even experience enlightenment? The answer is yes. But it's going to be there's a lot more to it than watching a video, right? If it were that easy, everybody would watch the video and become a millionaire, wouldn't they? Clearly, that is not happening. So I would say the secret is very much like just about all the rest of the New Age material. There is powerful kernels of truth inside, but it's hidden underneath all this hype and nonsense. And what I want people to know is that there's real teachings, there are real truth, but you need to know how to get past the hype and the nonsense and the fluff, right? That I am not a typical New Ager, right? I have no problem with that, but I'm not running around with 30 pounds of crystals on me, right? Again, I love crystals. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But you know, I'm more of just a typical guy in my free time. I like going out and watching sports. I love playing heavy metal, right? So I want to help everybody see past the New Age mythology to find the truth underneath. And religion's no different. There's truth inside every religion, right? But there's a lot of hype, a lot of nonsense, a lot of story that has to be separated out first. Well, my goal is to give people simple tools that you can use every day to improve your life. For a lot of people, they get into it through physical health and healing. Others get into it because they need a shortcut to making more money, to finding bigger success. And the truth is, you can learn how to create almost anything you want in life, but you need to know what you're doing. And my goal in life is to be the one that shows people the right way to use their mind, the right way to harness your power. Because again, there's a lot of people out there that are well-intentioned, but just don't know what they're doing.
Brent, why not recite your website or how people can find out more?
For anyone that would like to learn more, the best thing to do is hop over to my website at awakeningdynamics.com. And you'll see a big button that says Save My Seat. I'm doing an upcoming Heal-a-thon live webinar where I'm going to not only talk about these things in a lot more detail, but lead you through a bunch of interactive exercises. Because I want people to know this is something you need to experience for yourself to see that it's real. You wouldn't believe me if I just told you. You go, though, that's a big claim. No, so come and see for yourself. See that this is not only what I'm saying it is, but actually much better. And have your own experience. There's also links on my homepage to my YouTube channel. We can learn a lot more about this work from a lot of free videos on my YouTube channel. There's even a spiritual power quiz, so you can start identifying what is your secret hidden spiritual talent. Everybody has one, but most people live their whole lives totally ignorant of it. So check out my website, awakeningdynamics.com. Take the spiritual power quiz, click the button to register for the live Heal-a-thon webinar, and I will take it from there and blow your mind.
I've really enjoyed this, and nice to meet you. I'm going to check it out, and I want all of you out there to do it. What's the date on that?
The upcoming Heal-a-thon webinar is going to be Thursday, April 21st.
April 21st.
Yep,
and so
5:30 Pacific time, 8:30 East Coast.
Here we go. So thank you, Brent Michael Phillips, for being on Global TV Talk Show. I know you have a hard close now. Otherwise, we can go on and on and on. I'm impressed, and I'm going to look into it.
It's been great to be here, and I hope that I hope this resonates with some of your listeners, and
no doubt,
get you in my community and show you how life really works.
And great, and thank you. Have a good day, and I'm really happy to meet you. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Likewise. Thank you, Edwin. Take care.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.